What's up? It's me, D.W.C, and today I'm going to be doing my first ever rebuild in MLB The Show 20, and we're going to be starting off with a tough one. We're going to be using the worst team in baseball last season, the Detroit Tigers. So we're going to select them, we're going to turn GM contracts off like we always do. We're going to leave this the way it is for now because I'll adjust everything to manual and auto when I actually get into the mode and do the mode specific options to how I want them to be. And then we're going to go in here. We're going to do the overlook of our team, and then we're going to get right into Season 1 simulation. I'm going to do some scouting off camera. And yeah, let's look at our team. So, we have Matt Boyd, Xiaoxing Chang at starting pitcher, Daniel Norris, Zach Godley, Michael Fulmer, and Spencer Turnbull. Jordan Zimmerman behind them, but he is awful at this stage in his career. We're definitely going to be looking to move him. Bullpen is a big weakness on this team. They have Alex Wilson, Buck Farmer, Carl Funkhauser, not looking good in the bullpen. They do have Joe Jimenez as a potential relief option in the future. 25 years old. Hopefully he'll be good by year 2 or 3 for us. Catcher, we have Jake Rogers, who's B potential. Hopefully he can grow a bit for us, and then he'll be our starting catcher. As in MLB The Show games, I don't really put catcher as a main position in my team to try and improve. It's just not something I believe in value in the team, because I think you can have a catcher who's a little bit worse, that's maybe just pretty good defensively, or not as good defensively but better with the bat, and then it won't impact your team as much. That's just my opinion. Maybe you have a different opinion. Maybe you want to upgrade that position. That's up to you. Miguel Cabrera, I'm actually going to try and hold on to. His contract is really rough, but he's been in Detroit for so long, it's just hard to see him go anywhere else. If I do get to the position where I need to trade him, I will do that, but it'd be nice to see him get to the 500 club and do that in a Detroit Tigers uniform, in the same uniform he won the Triple Crown with. Behind him we have CJ Crone. He might just be a one-year player. We might bring him back for next year as well. And we have Jonathan Scope and Harold Castro. Jonathan Scope never seems to do that well in franchise and MLB The Show, so we'll see how he does after this year. We have Paredes behind Candelario at third base. Nico Goodrum's okay for this year. He's a good fielding shortstop, but his hitting isn't the best. Left field is weak with Christian Stewart. Center field, we have Victor Reyes. He's got decent contact to start. He's a good fielder, and he's got some speed, so we'll hold on to him, see if he can grow into maybe a 1 or 2 hitter for us. We also have Cameron Maben, so he'll be there for at least the first year. And then Jorge Bonifacio we're going to call up, and Travis Demeriti is going to be sent down to AAA for sure. And there we go. So that's what the team's looking like. I'm going to adjust the roster to how I want it to be, and then I'll throw in some trades that I made before this season, and then I'll do the simulation for the first season. Okay, so the roster's set how I want it to be. We're going into free agency to pick up a reliever. Aroldis Vizcaino is by far the best reliever in free agency, but I don't want to sign him in every rebuild that I do. So I'm actually going to pick up David Hernandez. I thought about Hunter Strickland because he's a couple of years younger, but we're going to go with David Hernandez. We're going to give him a 1-year deal in the bullpen at $24 million. He's going to ask for 2 years. I figured that. We'll give him 2 years, see how he does. And then we're going to move on to a couple trades. Okay, so the first trade we're going to be making with our Detroit Tigers is going to be getting rid of Jordan Zimmerman and his $22 million contract. We're also throwing in Tyler Alexander, who's 24 years old, B potential, but only 55 overall, so we don't mind giving him up. And we are getting back Zach Britton, who is also making $13 million, so we're getting back another fairly big contract, but at least he's a usable player that'll come in and help out our bullpen. So we're going to make that trade. Next trade, we're going to be giving up Frank Schwindel, who is a B potential 26-year-old first baseman. He looks like at best he's going to be a bench bat in his career. He might end up being a starter for some teams, but I don't want him to be a starter for us. So we're trading him away. We're also giving away Stefan Valenzuela, who is 27 years old, B potential. He's a good fielder, but that's about it. And then we're throwing in Travis Demerity, who is a weak hitting, not a great fielding outfielder with a little bit of speed. 25 years old, B potential. He's never going to be anything special either. And we're getting back D.W.C in return. A good fielding, average hitting third baseman, but definitely an upgrade on the current third baseman that we have in Candelario. So we're going to make that trade as well. Alright, so the next trade we're going to be doing is we're going to be picking up Willie Calhoun from the Rangers. He is a B potential left fielder, 25 years old. He's got very good hitting stats. He can't field at all, but he's a very good hitter. So we're going to train him in the fielding departments. Hopefully he gets at least serviceable in the outfield. But for now, we're going to put him in our starting left field position. We're going to be giving up Jacoby Jones, who's just an unusable outfielder pretty much. We're also going to be giving up Yeimer Candelario, who is basically the swap for Willie Calhoun. But Willie Calhoun I value much, much more. Obviously, Candelario can field a lot better, but Calhoun can hit way, way better, which is more valuable to me at this point in time. And then we're also throwing in Brandon Nixon, who's just a bench bat at best in the major leagues at 27 years old, B potential first baseman. So we're going to make that trade, and we also get back a B potential reliever in the deal, 22 years old, so we're going to pull the trigger on that one. And the final move that we're going to be doing is a very minor one. We're going to be trading away Ivan Nova for very, very young reliever from the Blue Jays, Elvis Luciano, 20 years old from the Dominican Republic. He made his MLB debut at the age of 19. Very, very young player right there. And we're also throwing in this guy who is about the same level as Luciano, but he's 4 years older. And then we're just getting rid of Ivan Nova because he's not going to be impactful on our team at all, and it gets rid of that $1.5 million contract. So that is the final trade we're going to make, and then we're going to get into the simulation. I'll show you who we draft this year, and then I'll see you at the end of the season after that. Okay, so here we are with our first year draft picks. You look at the draft, it was a pretty weak draft for us overall. We got Dale Caballero, though, as our first overall pick. He looks absolutely disgusting. A potential, 93 potential, 99 mile an hour four-seam fastball with a 95 mile an hour cutter, a slider, a curveball, and a splitter. That is a filthy pitch mix right there. His base stats to start with aren't even that bad, so he could probably be in our rotation by year 3, hopefully. So yeah, that's a very good pick. Very happy with that. We also get Wyatt Balik. Not bad. And then down here, Alex Esquivel and Oliver Guzman. So overall, not a great draft year, but very happy with our top pick. And we're going to get back into the simulation, and I'll catch up with you at the end of the year. Okay, so we finished the season at 72-90, which is not all that bad considering the team that we have right now. We would like to stop simulating. Yes, we are going to take a look at our team and see how they did. Victor Reyes did all right, 277 average. The power numbers aren't there, but 277, not bad for a leadoff guy. His OBP is okay, could be higher for sure. Cameron Maben had a decent year. He was doing fairly better when I last checked on him. Miguel Cabrera had a great year. He actually got better at 36 years old, which is crazy. He hit 24 home runs, which was enough to get him into the 500 home run club. He is up to 501 home runs on his career now. He had an 900 OPS pretty much in his age 36 season. Crazy right there from Miguel Cabrera. We'll take that. Willie Calhoun had a decent year. He had a 264 average. He hit 22 home runs, and he had a 762 OPS. So could have been better, but definitely could have been worse. So we'll take that from him. His potential actually went up, which is nice to see. David Bodie had a good year for us. He grew a lot. +7 in both contact and power versus right. +5 in contact versus left. +3 in power versus left vision. And you see he went up in pretty much every single stat except his speed. He is up to an 81 overall now. You look at his stats. He hit 27 doubles and 27 home runs for us. 295 average, 382 OBP, and an 883 OPS. Very good year for him, and we're happy with that trade for David Bodie. Romine didn't do too great. Jonathan Scope didn't do too great. We're probably going to let him walk. As I said, he never really does good in franchise. He's probably going to ask for way more money than he's worth, and he got worse, and his potential went down. Jorge Bonifacio actually had a good year, and he's up to an A potential now, which is lovely. You love to see that. That is fantastic. I'm very happy with that, actually. Up to an A potential for him. He hit 28 doubles, 13 home runs, and 270 average, and a 786 OPS. So that's a decent year for Jorge Bonifacio. We are happy with him, especially with that A potential. Nico Goodrum had a bad year. His potential went down. We might look to move on from Nico Goodrum, as he did not do well at all for us. Off the bench, CJ Cron, 16 home runs, low average. Could have been better. Could have been worse. I don't think we're going to bring him back either way. He really only hits lefties well. So we're probably going to move on from him. Christian Stewart didn't do awful off the bench. Jake Rogers got better, but didn't have a very good year. Moving over to our rotation. Michael Fulmer didn't do great, but he did get a lot better, as he's up to an 80 overall now. So hopefully he has a bounce back year next year and he pitches well. Matthew Boyd didn't do the best. He was doing good throughout the year, but he must have had some rough outings towards the end of this season. Zach Godley didn't do the greatest. Xiaoxing Chang was terrible, and Spencer Turnbull was actually our best starter, which is kind of rough. He had 20 starts for us. He pitched in 50 games, and 3.22 ERA, 1.2 WHIP. He was our best starter, which is kind of gross. Daniel Norris, I think, had an injury towards the end of the year, maybe, but either way, 3 ERA for him. We'll take that. Buck Farmer was bad. Kyle Funkhauser was bad. Alex Wilson wasn't too bad, mid-3 ERA with a good whip, so we'll take that from him. Might even bring him back for next year if we can get him on a low deal. David Hernandez was fantastic, so the fact that we have him for another year is not the worst thing, as he had a 1.76 ERA and a below 1 whip in 46 innings. Very happy with that. Zach Britton struggled. We're probably going to look to move him, and Joe Jimenez actually had a decent year. 30 saves, as we ended up moving him into the closer role, and 68 strikeouts in 46 innings, 3.86 ERA with a 1.11 whip. By the way, I don't think I mentioned this at the start of the video, but this is a 3-year rebuild. That's all I'm giving myself for this rebuild. I'm giving myself 3 seasons. I don't want to go any further than that, so I'm going to see if we can turn this team into a World Series contender by year 3. Anyway, we're going to sim to the offseason right here. We'll see who wins the World Series. And it is the Dodgers. Surprise, surprise. The stacked Dodgers beating the Yankees in the World Series. And we're going to advance. I'll show you all the moves that I make. We don't lose anyone. We lose Jordy Mercer, but that's fine. We're going to swing on over. Pujols retires, and he goes into the Hall of Fame. Exclusive free agent negotiations. CJ Cron and Jonathan Scope I'm probably going to let walk. Austin Romine I might also let walk. Cameron Maben I may bring back, may not. Probably not. Alex Wilson I said I'm going to bring back because he actually had a decent year for us. Hector Santiago, no, but that's all. So really the only player in here getting a contract is going to be Alex Wilson, and it's not going to be a very big contract. He wants $1.5 million. We're just going to make sure that he's in the bullpen. He'll be like our last bullpen piece, and we'll give him $1.3 million. We'll offer him that contract anyway. Not sure if he takes it. But I'm going to hop through into free agency. I'll show you who's available, show you who we're targeting, and then we're going to move on into next season. Looking at free agency, we have a couple big names, but I don't think we're going to target any of them this offseason. As with the stage our team is at right now, I don't think it's realistic for us to sign a Mookie Betts or a JT Realmuto or a DJ LeMahieu. Kirby Yates is there, Jonathan Villar, Carlos Santana, Corey Kluber's also there, Marcus Semien. I'm going to show you who I do offer contracts to, and then I will be back with that. But I'm not going to target any big names this offseason. Next offseason is a big-time offseason with lots of good players as free agents next season. So I'm going to target some big names next season, and then we'll make that push for the playoffs run in season number 3. But I'll be right back and show you who I offered contracts to. So like I said, there was no one I really wanted to go after in free agency this year. We offered Keone Kela a contract. We offered him $30.7 million for 4 years. I will up that if I need to, because I'd really like to bring him into the team. You look at those stats, he'd be a great closer for us. You look what he did last season. Great numbers, a .8 whip, 44 saves. Yes, please, come to my team. We also offered this A potential outfielder a contract and this B potential 26-year-old catcher a contract. Other than that, there was no one else I really seen that I wanted. Let's hope that we can get Kela. You can see on screen we managed to secure the services of Keone Kela. We gave him $31 million for 4 years, so that is on average $7.8 million a season. Very happy with that signing. 27-year-old closing pitcher. He will be our closing pitcher going forward for this team. Very happy with that signing. We went after one guy in free agency, and we got him. I'm happy with that. Okay, so we're turning around, and we're sending Zach Britton right back to the Yankees. We're also throwing in Tariq Skubal, who is an A potential starting pitcher, 24 years old, 74 overall. But like I said, we have Casey Mize right behind him, who's a year younger and pretty much the exact same overall. And then we have Dale Caballero behind him, who is a couple years younger and is not too far behind him in overall. And then we also have Matt Manning, so we have 3 A potential pitchers still. So we're just going to use Tariq Skubal as a trading piece. We're also, like I said, Zach Britton, and then we're throwing in a D potential reliever in Pinto. And in return, we are going to be getting a starting pitcher in James Paxton, who is 83 overall. You look at his attributes, they're pretty good. We're hoping that he can come in and be a good pitcher for us for this year and hopefully the year after, if we sign him for that year. And then we're also getting super prospect Jason Dominguez. You look at his fielding stats and his speed, they're phenomenal. He just needs to get his hitting up. He's only 18 years old. By the time he is 20, he will be a superstar player. Very happy with this trade. We're going to do that without a question. Alright, so I'm making a trade here with the Tampa Bay Rays. We are picking up another reliever in Nick Anderson. Very solid reliever. And we are giving away Alex Faedo, B potential catcher, 26-year-old Jacob Travis, who we signed out of free agency. And we're also giving up Cole Peterson. Nothing special, decent fielding, okay contact, good speed, but other than that, he's never going to be anything special, so we're throwing him into the trade, and we're picking up another good reliever for our bullpen. We definitely needed help there, so you go take a look at our bullpen now, and we have David Hernandez and Alex Wilson, along with Nick Anderson, Keone Kela, and Joe Jimenez. I think I'm going to put Kela as our closer over Anderson, but I'm liking the way our bullpen is turning out. We have 3 at least solid arms, hopefully with Jimenez. We have definitely 2 solid arms with Anderson and Kela. And we picked up Paxton for our rotation, so we got some good pitchers this offseason. I think I'm going to move into the simulation for season number 2 now. Okay, so our team going into season 2 got better in some spots, got worse in other spots. We'll see how this goes. We brought in James Paxton as our top pitcher for the season. We got Fulmer behind him, Matthew Boyd, Daniel Norris, and also Michael Baird we picked up out of the Rule 5 draft. 78 overall, not bad. And then Thurnbull will probably be in the majors as our long relief man. We got Ramos out of the Rule 5 draft as well. Looks like a pretty good reliever right there. We picked up Givens out of free agency. We still have Hernandez and Wilson. We have Kela, Anderson, and Jimenez. Then we have Jake Rogers as our catcher. You see a lot of spots are missing players. We'll deal with that in a minute. Then we have Miguel Cabrera at our first base spot. Doel Lugo's actually our second baseman for this season, which is kind of rough. David Bodie is our third baseman. Nico Goodrum is our shortstop. Left field, we have Willie Calhoun as our left fielder, who is actually going to be our DH. We also signed this guy out of free agency who has a ton of value, which I might use right now to bring in a piece to actually play in our team for the season. Then we have in center field, we have Jason Dominguez and Victor Reyes. And then in right field, we have Jorge Bonifacio. Okay, so we are up to the year 2 draft, and our draft was not the greatest, but it wasn't too bad. We got a couple good players in Jay Cooper, who is an 84 potential third baseman, and Maurice Rodriguez, who is an 87 potential starting pitcher, who looks pretty good off the start, actually. He's got hard fastball with a cutter behind it. His per-nines aren't looking that bad. His stamina's decent at 20 years old. He could definitely grow into something worth using, so we can keep him, and we will keep Jay Cooper. We will also sign Matthew Aguilera, as he has very good contact to start and decent speed. We're going to let the rest of them walk, though, I think. And then we're going to get back into simulation, and I will see you later in the season, if not at the end. Alright, so Season 2, we actually ended with a worse record than Season number 1. We lost 2 more games than the first season, I believe. Maybe 4 more games. But yeah, that's not good. That's not the direction we want to be going into. This is going to be a big off season for us. We don't need to look at the stats. Don't really care about that. Yankees beat the Brewers in the World Series. And we're going to be getting into the off season here very quickly. Alright, advancing to the off season. No retirements that impact our team. This is going to be a very, very big offseason for us. I might need to move Miguel Cabrera if it comes down to that point, because we need some serious money to make some serious moves in free agency. Honestly, James Paxton, I don't know if I'm going to bring him back. His tender contract is 1 year, $18.5 million. I'm not sure if I want to do that. I'm not sure if I want to actually offer him a contract. You look at what he did last year. It was not very good. So I'm unsure about James Paxton right now. He did get slightly better somehow. I'll have to think about that one. Daniel Norris I'll probably bring back. Michael Givens wasn't the worst, but he wasn't that great. Alex Wilson, he's gone. David Hernandez is definitely gone. Kyle Seager was a 1 year thing, I think, for us. He did well in his limited appearances, though. Eric Gonzalez has a team option for $2.8 million. Probably not going to take that. And that's it. So I'll see you in actual free agency. Okay, so here we have the free agent class of year number 2. It is absolutely stacked, and I am going all in. We have Francisco Lindor, Chris Bryant, Trevor Story, Clayton Kershaw, Javier Baez, Noah Syndergaard, Freddie Freeman, Eduardo Rodriguez, Carlos Martinez, Lance McCullers, Eddie Rosario, Kyle Schwarber, Roberto Perez, Presley, and Winkler. This free agency class is as good of a free agency class as you'll probably ever see. And for my offers, I gave pretty much everyone who didn't have a contract already, I gave them an offer. So I gave Francisco Lindor an offer. I gave Chris Bryant an offer. I gave Noah Syndergaard an offer, Eduardo Rodriguez, Dan Winkler, and Domingo Santana an offer. I also gave Freddie Freeman an offer. I don't know why it's not showing up. Probably because I'm not his top offer, and he's probably going to go with the Braves. But those are the players that I offered contracts to. I'm going to sim ahead a day or two, and I will update you as we go. Okay, so we just signed Eduardo Rodriguez. James Paxton was not good for us last year, and we need the extra money right now in free agency. So I'm going to trade him away. Eric Gonzalez, we were not going to take his option anyway. So basically we're trading James Paxton for Jorge Soler and Kelvin Gutierrez, which I'm fine with. So we're going to put that through. And I'm really hoping this season works out the way I wanted it to. There's no guarantees, though, but we'll see how it goes. And I'll update you as we go along in free agency. Okay, so we secured our big fish. We got Francisco Lindor in free agency. That is a huge signing for this team. It is going to help us immensely, and hopefully it'll get us on track to get into the postseason in our third and final year. Big signing right there. I am very happy with that. Okay, 2 final trades going into season number 3, and then we're going into the simulation. Hopefully we make the postseason. Hopefully we get deep into it. Trade number 1. A potential Guadalupe Andino is the big piece in this trade. We're also giving up Daniel Norris, who I don't mind giving up. He's on a $5 million contract. That's a bit much for what he's giving us in the team. 79 overall at this point. He had a decent season in year number 1. He had an okay season last year. But we're also giving up Victor Reyes, who has been very disappointing so far in this rebuild. He had 700 OPS in season 1, 620 in season number 2. He had a total of 14 home runs, which is not very good. And we are getting back a starting pitcher to go into our rotation alongside of Eduardo Rodriguez and Michael Fulmer. We're getting Sean Manaea, and we're also getting another bullpen arm in J.B. Wendelken. He's had 2 very solid seasons in the bullpen. Hopefully he can have one for us. With our luck, probably not, though. Hopefully Manaea can have a year like he did in season number 1. And we're going to make this trade, and then I'm going to do one more trade, and then we're going to get into the simulation. Okay, this is the final trade. I'm getting rid of 2 players that I'm honestly tired of in this rebuild. Matthew Boyd has been bad in both seasons so far of this rebuild. Same goes for Nico Goodrum. He has been really, really bad in both years. He's been absolutely awful, actually. And then we're throwing in a first base prospect in Nick Ames. You see here we have another first base prospect. They're almost identical, so I don't mind giving him up. And we are getting back in return Kevin Newman, who's going to come in and play second base for us. Got very good contact stats. His power isn't the best, but his contact and his vision and clutch are really good. You see he hits for a high average. Both seasons he's been around 300. High OBP, good OPS. He's had around 20 home runs both seasons so far. Hopefully he can come in and produce for us as well. And then we're also just throwing in a B potential starting pitcher in Israel Chavez. So we're going to go ahead and make that trade, and then I'm going to go on to the regular season, show you what our team is looking like, and then go through the simulation. Okay, so I lied. We have to make one more trade out of necessity as we don't have a lefty in our entire bullpen, which is a big-time problem. We're going to bring in Yarlin Garcia as a lefty, and we're giving up Michael Givens and also this C potential starting pitcher, Andreas Villarreal. You look at his per-nines, not very good. Totally fine with this trade. And then we get a lefty. Look, everyone else in our bullpen, righty, 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 righty. I'm very happy with our bullpen. I think they're solid, but we definitely needed a lefty, and so we're going out and getting one. Okay, so the last thing before season number 3 gets started, we are taking a look at our lineups. So here they are. We have Kevin Newman leading off, David Bodie hitting second, Lindor third, Domingo Santana fourth, Jorge Soler fifth, Willie Calhoun, Miguel Cabrera, Jason Castro, and Jason Dominguez. Then we have Newman, Bodie, Lindor again, Miggy hitting fourth versus lefties, Soler, Calhoun, Santana, Rogers, and Dominguez. Then off the bench we have Bonifacio, Kelvin Gutierrez, Dawel Lugo, and Castro. So I'm pretty happy with our lineup. I think it looks very good. Go into our rotation. We have Eduardo Rodriguez looking good, 87 overall. Sean Manaea looking good, 87 overall. I'm not sure which one of these two I would like to be on the top spot. I think I might go with Manaea, but it doesn't really make a difference really. So, in fact, we're just going to leave Eduardo up there. Then Manaea, then Fulmer, and then Baird, and then the rookie Casey Mize is going to get in there. And then Turnbull is our long relief man. And our bullpen is looking like this. We have Keone Kela in our closer spot. Solid closer. Nick Anderson setting him up alongside J.B. Wendelken. First year on the team. And then we got Moreno, who's the low-rated player in our bullpen, 69 overall, but he pitched well last season when he played with a 3 ERA. Yarlin Garcia, who we picked up for our lefty in the bullpen. Ramos, who is pretty solid. and then Joe Jimenez is still kicking around on the team. And that's what our team looks like. I'm very happy with it. Hopefully they play as well as I'm expecting. I'm hoping they get around at least 90 wins, hopefully around that, and manage to get into the postseason. If this team doesn't make the postseason, I am going to be very, very disappointed. So I'm going to get into the simulation, and I'll see you near the end of the season. The end of the season is here, and we won 93 games on the season. We are a wild card team, and we will be taking on the Toronto Blue Jays in the postseason. So what we're going to do is look at what wild card spot we got. We were 3 games back of the Twins for the division. We're the 10th best team in baseball according to this. We did win the first wild card position with 93 wins. We're going to go over and take a look at the Blue Jays team, and then we're going to set our roster for the postseason and see how far we can go. Alright, so Blue Jays, looking at their starting pitching, is not that great actually. They got Manoah, who is a prospect who grew pretty nicely into their rotation. He's their ace. They have this guy who's their second best pitcher by overall, who's not even on the MLB roster, so he won't be in the postseason. Then they have Ryu, who is falling off. He still had a good year. He had a very good year, actually. Both of these years were almost identical, but he is getting worse. Another top prospect who is one of their best pitchers, not in the major leagues, who won't be in the postseason. This guy I don't think we need to be worried about, and Sean Reed-Foley. So their pitching isn't that great. Not worried about their starting pitching anyway. Relievers, Chad Green is good. He's not had the best season, but he is good. Meza and Pannoni, and then after that it's not looking the best. And then they obviously have Ken Giles, who's a good closer, but struggled somewhat this season. Catcher, they have Danny Jansen and Reese McGuire. That's pretty good for catcher. Rowdy Tellez at first base had a nice season. 34 home runs, 294 average, 830 OPS. Kike Hernandez at second base with Cavan Biggio. Vladdy Jr. at third base had a 284 average, 22 home runs. You're expecting a little more power than that from Vladdy, but not a bad year. Bo Bichette had a decent year. They got J.P. Crawford now, who is somehow having a good year. Didn't play much, though. Bo Bichette had a very good year. Teoscar Hernandez looks like he had a decent year. Brian O'Grady looks like he had a decent year. Their center fielder is very questionable. Greg Allen, he doesn't look that good. He's a good fielder, that's about it. And then Randall Grichuk in right field. So I think we can definitely beat this team. I'm going to set my roster, and then we're going to get into the quick manage of the wild card game. Alright, so the wild card game. Here we go. We are going to quick manage, and uniforms doesn't matter. We are going into our home stadium as we are the top wild card team. It is going to be Alex Manoah versus Eduardo Rodriguez on the bump. There you can see the lineups kind of on their side. You can see our lineup if you want to look at them. We're going to advance. We're happy with the way it's set up. And underway now, Eduardo Rodriguez is going to pitch. He's going to give up a single on his first hitter faced. That is not good. And a stolen base, a pop-up, a fly-out, and a strikeout. So first hitter gets on and gets to second, but he recovers from that. Our first hitter also gets on with a walk. We have a pop-up and a fly-out and another fly-out. No offense so far in the game. Vladdy gets on first, a pop-up, another pop-up, and a strikeout. Jorge Soler walks. Francisco Lindor singles. A ground-out advances them to third and second with one out. Miguel Cabrera, can he come in clutch in possibly his final year, his final postseason appearance? Can he do it? No, he strikes out. Cavan Biggio walks, strikeout, strikeout, flyout. Absolutely no offense this game, which is kind of scaring me because one big hit can turn this into a tough situation for us. There it is, too, just on cue. Randall Grichuk hits a solo homer. I think that might be the day for Eduardo Rodriguez. I'm going to take him out after that. I'll give him this inning. We'll see what he can do. The single, he's done. Pitching change, we are going to bring in... They have Kike Two righties. We are going to bring in Jimenez. We'll see how Jimenez does. Pitch, double play. Beautiful. Can we get something going here? Willie Calhoun gets a single. 2-run home run by Domingo Santana. That is beautiful. He gives us the 2-1 lead. Pitching change for them. We finally get their starter out. Dominguez hits a single. Another 2-run home run, this time by Kevin Newman. And that is beautiful. That puts us in a wonderful spot. 4-1 for us late in the game. We're going to swing, move on. 8th inning, we are going to bring in Nick Anderson. He had a rough year, but can he redeem himself here in the postseason? Up 3 runs. I sure hope so. Ground out, strikeout, fly out. Beautiful. Bottom of the 8th inning, Jorge Soler doubles. Francisco Lindor walks. Willie Calhoun advances the runner. Domingo Santana, 3-run home run. 2 home runs in this game. 5 runs batted in for Domingo Santana. What a performance by him. As we look like we are definitely going to be advancing at this point. We are going to do a pitching change. We're not going to bring in Kellogg because it is not a save situation. We will just bring in Moreno, and he will give up a single, a strikeout, another single, a fielder's choice, and we will get out of the game. We will be advancing to take on the Yankees in the American League Division Series. A beautiful performance by Domingo Santana, 2 for 4, 2 home runs. I mentioned that he didn't have as many home runs as we wanted in the regular season, but it didn't matter because when it mattered most, he came through for us. We're going to slide over now and take a look at the Yankees roster as we have one of their former players in Jason Dominguez on our team, 19-year-old youngster. We are going to look at their team. They have Garrett Cole, Luis Severino, Jordan Montgomery, and Deivi Garcia, so their pitching is definitely much better than the Blue Jays, and in a full series that'll probably come into effect. Jonathan Holder, Tommy Canley, and Josh Taylor in the bullpen, not too bad. Zach Britton, we had him for a while. One season, actually. He was not very good for us, so we got rid of him immediately. Aroldis Chapman is still their closer. He had a good year, as you can expect for Aroldis Chapman. Gary Sanchez still their catcher. Luke Voigt at first base. Pretty good still. Second base looks like a weak spot on their team with this guy. Miller didn't have a good year at all. Urshela is actually probably playing second base for them. He had a very good year, though. Miguel Andujar also, he might be DHing. He had a decent year. Gleyber Torres, I can only assume, had a good year, and he did. Eric Gonzalez, who was actually on our team and we traded away, didn't have a very good year. Didn't expect him to. Stanton probably had a pretty good year power-wise anyway. 50 home runs for Stanton. Good year for him. Aaron Hicks, I wouldn't expect, had a great year. And Aaron Judge probably did. Yeah, definitely. And then Franmil Reyes, who I looked at trading for this team, he had a really good year for them. Very good year, actually. 968 OPS. So we're going to get into the simulation. We are going to sim through the first 2 games, and we'll see what the outcome is. And then, if necessary, we will quick manage. We won the first game 4-2. Sean Manaea put up a nice performance. We got Michael Fulmer versus Luis Severino in the second game, and we won that one as well. I think we are going to go back to Eduardo Rodriguez on the third game to try and lock it down. Actually, we'll let Casey Mize take the third game. We're up 2-0. We'll see what happens in this game. Sim through date. Beautiful, and we beat the Yankees. We advanced to the American League Championship Series. We are taking on, who will it be? It will be the Oakland Athletics. So we're going to take a look at their team now, and then we're going to get into the series versus the Athletics. Okay, so looking at the Athletics roster, looks like it's going to be star versus star. It will be Matt Chapman versus Francisco Lindor. Probably the best third baseman in the game at this point versus one of, if not the best, shortstop in the game. Ramon Laureano, his potential went down, but he's a very good center fielder in this game. Great fielder, good hitter. Marcus Simeon's still there. He's a good hitter at shortstop. But looking at the rotation, The rotation's actually not that impressive. They got Frankie Montas, who doesn't impress me at all. They got Daniel Mengden, who also doesn't really impress me. He had a pretty good year, but he doesn't impress me. Luzardo, who's young, still trying to figure things out. And actually, they have Daniel Norris, as I believe we traded him to them in the offseason for Wendelken. How did he do with them? He had an okay year, about what he's been doing. He did the same last year. Nothing special. Their bullpen, we actually have one of their best relievers on our team, so their bullpen's not looking that great. Austin Allen is a good catcher. He had a pretty good year as well. They have another A potential catcher behind them, and they still have Sean Murphy down here, who didn't really grow to be much. First base, they have Matt Olson, who's actually injured for this entire postseason run, which is very good for us. You never want to see someone injured, but in this situation, it'll definitely benefit us because Matt Olson is a very good player in franchise. Tony Kemp, nothing special there, really. Matt Chapman, as we stated. Marcus Semien, as we stated, with Mateo there. Chad Pinder in left field is a pretty good hitter. He had not the greatest year, though. Andrew McCutcheon on the Oakland Athletics. That's pretty interesting to see. He had a very good year for them. Manuel Margot is also on the Athletics, so it seems like they're pretty outfield heavy, as they also have Victor Reyes from us when we traded him to them. And then right field, they still have Stephen Piscotty. So this team, I think we can definitely beat this team. We are going to simulate the first couple games. Game 1, we win 9-1. What a beautiful thing that is. Who was our starting pitcher? Eduardo Rodriguez put up an absolute gem, only giving up 1 run. I don't even know if he gave up that run. Game 2, we lose 6-5. Game 3, coming home, we lose that game. Now, we're going to start quick managing because I'm starting to get a little bit nervous. I think we can still beat this team for sure, as we have Casey Mize and Daniel Mengden going up against each other. We are going to go into quick manage this game. So we got Casey Mize going up against Mengden. I think we definitely have the advantage there. Hopefully the boys turn up for this game, as I think we definitely need them. First pitch, ground out. Second batter of the game hits a home run off of him. That's not what we want to start the game, but Soler comes back with a 2-out double. Moving along, not much happening here. A double for David Bodie with 2 out. A walk for Soler. Run scores on a single from Francisco Lindor. Clutch right there to tie the game up. 1-1 now. Casey Mize has bounced back after that second batter home run. Victor Reyes gets a hit, and then he hits into a double play. Kevin Newman pops out for us. Jorge Soler gets a single, but that goes nowhere. Tony Kemp leads off with a single. Another single from Travis d'Arnaud. And I think that's going to be the game for Casey Mize. And we are going to go to the bullpen, and we are going to go to their former bullpen arm in Wendelken. Pop up, strikeout, strikeout. Beautiful stuff right there against his former team. Shuts the door in that inning. An error gets Willie Calhoun on base, but it turns into a double play. We are going to go into the bullpen again. This time we are going to go with Ramos. A ground out, a line out, and a strikeout gets us through that inning quickly. Jake Rogers leads off with a single. Fly out from Dominguez. Newman replaces Rogers at first base, and a pop-up. Okay, going to our lefty for the 8th inning, as they have 2 lefties coming to the plate. Strikeout, pop-up, a walk, and a ground out gets us through that inning. 1-1 game still here in the bottom of the 8th. Can we come through at home in the clutch? Hit by pitch, a single, man on third with 1 out. Can we get him in? 2 outs, can we get him in? No, we can't get him in. That is very disappointing right there. I didn't mean to leave him in the game still. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us. We're going to bring in Joe Jimenez. Fly out. Runner thrown out at home. And then we get through the 9th inning. Can we walk it off at home? I think I'm actually going to pinch hit for Jake Rogers, as there's definitely players on our bench that we are more confident in hitting-wise. Do we go Castro? Yeah, we'll go with Castro just because it makes it easier for the positioning changes. A swing. He pops out. Jason Dominguez hits a single. We're going to try and get him to steal. Oh, he is caught stealing. That is not good. And Kevin Newman flies out. So we are going to extra innings right here. I don't think I want Joe Jimenez pitching extra innings, so we are going to go to Spencer Turnbull. Hopefully it doesn't bite us. Strikeout, ground out, beautiful stuff. David Bodie walks to lead off the inning. A strikeout and a double play. Turnbull still 2 men on now. Hopefully he can get through this, and he does. Back to us. Santana singles. Miguel Cabrera singles. Can Castro... Actually, it's lefty versus lefty, so we're going to do a pinch hit for Castro. No, we can't because we don't have another catcher, so we can't do that. We're going to have to leave him in. Castro is going to swing. He's going to pop up. Can Dominguez come through big? The youngster. No, he cannot. How long will this game go? We will have to wait and see. I'm really starting to get nervous right here. We're really going to need someone to come through for us very soon. 2 men on with none out in the bottom of the 13th inning. Can Miguel Cabrera do it for us? Hit by pitch. Base is loaded. Please, Castro. I know it's lefty versus lefty, but we need you right now. Yes, and he walks it off. The runner scores. We win the game 2-1, and the series is tied up. We're going to take our chances with the series tied and simulate through this game. We lose it big time, 15-1. Eduardo Rodriguez had a stinker that game. We're going to need a big performance from Sean Manaea versus his old team here, and we are going to quick manage it, as you can assume. Kevin Newman starts us off right, leading us off with a double. A ground out from Bodie. Soler hits a single. Newman unfortunately cannot score. A fielder's choice, and we do not get the run in. That is very disappointing right there. They get a single. They don't get anything out of it. 2 men on now with 1 out. A double play ends the inning. That's beautiful. Kevin Newman again leads us off with a double. After going 0 for 6 last game, he's 2 for 2 with 2 leadoff doubles. A walk from David Bodie this time. Jorge Soler hits a single that scores a run. 2 men on still with 1 out. A fly out gets Soler to third. Santana hits a single which scores a run. We're up 2-0. That is beautiful. Tony Kemp hits a leadoff single to come back the other way. Ground out, single, but the run does not come in to score, and we get out of the inning. A single for Dominguez, and nothing comes out of that. Chad Pinder leads off, back-to-back singles with none out, puts us in a tough situation. We actually get a pickoff, which is very rare in this kind of simulation, but I'll definitely take it as there's now only 1 runner on. A single replaces that runner. A sacrifice bunt gets 2 out. Hopefully we can get an out right there, and we do. We get out of that inning as well, as Manaea is coming up clutch for us right now. A single right there, a fly out, another single, and we're going to have to call him out. He had a very good performance, but that's going to be it for him right there. We're going to bring back in Wendelken against his old team, and he gets us out of the inning. Gets a caught stealing for us, and that is beautiful. We are going to leave Wendelken in for the start of this inning. He gets a fly out. Tony Kemp pops out, and he gets through that inning as well. 2 out in the top of the 8th with Miguel Cabrera on third, Jake Rogers on first, and youngster Jason Dominguez at the plate. Pitching change, and he grounds out. Can't get anything there. We are going to go to our setup man, Jimenez, in the 8th inning. Ground out, solo home run makes it a 2-1 game. A strikeout, and another strikeout. So a 2-1 game. It's coming down to the wire here. We get nothing in our inning. Can Kayla close the door? I sure hope so. Ground out. Strikeout. Beautiful. And we tie up the series again. 3 wins apiece going into Game 7. Let's do it. Michael Fulmer will be on the mound. He hasn't had the greatest of postseasons yet, but we are turning to him, the more experienced pitcher in this situation. He hasn't been great for us so far in this rebuild. Hopefully he can come through in this situation for us. I just clicked on Casey Mize. We want Michael Fulmer. David Bodie is cold. Miguel Cabrera is cold. Soler is hot. We're going to bump Soler up. We are going to move Francisco Lindor into the second spot maybe. We'll do that. And then we'll go like this and bump Bodie down. and that's what our lineup will be like. Lindor reaches on an error, and Jorge Soler hits a 2-run home run. The change in the lineup pays off early as we are up 2-0 in the first inning. Beautiful stuff right there. Michael Fulmer, his job is to keep us that lead. A single from Bodie, a single from Jake Rogers, a fielder's choice, and a triple from Kevin Newman. 2-run score, 2 runs in both of the first 2 innings. We are up 4-0. Those lineup changes looked like they have made a big impact on the team. A 2-run home run from Francisco Lindor. We are up 6-0 in the second inning as youngster Jesus Luzardo, 24-year-old pitcher, is falling apart. And he's out of the game already. Can Michael Fulmer hold on to this lead? I would sure hope so. I'm going to breeze through this now. Austin Allen hits a solo home run. We're not worried about that yet. They get another run from a triple from Marcus Semien. And it is now 6-2. We are still in a fairly comfortable position. If Fulmer gets into much more trouble, we will then take him out. But right now, we are still sitting pretty. We are up 7-2. We can't go with a pitcher for one hitter anymore. So we are going to go with our lefty because they have 2 lefties coming up. Oh, and it does not work out as the righty hits a 2-run home run. Very unfortunate, but we had to make a strategical decision, and it does not work out. We still have the lead, though, as he gets the 2 lefties. That's what we wanted him to do. Unfortunately, the righty that he had to come in to face before that bit us. Maybe should have left Fulmer in for that righty. You'll never know. Hopefully it won't matter for us. Up 7-4. In the bottom of the 8th inning, we are going to turn again to Joe Jimenez for the 8th inning. He gives up a single. He gives up a 2-run home run again to put the game within 1 run. So that's 2 games in a row that Jimenez has let the game get to 1 run. Hopefully he can finish off this inning, and he does. He's putting us in a tight spot here. We came on hard early. They're coming on hard late. Can we get an insurance run right here? Bases loaded with 1 out. A sac fly does get us that insurance run. Much needed right there. Pitching change. We are bringing in Kella. 2-run lead. Should be no problem. And he closes the door. We are going to the World Series in year number 3 with this Detroit Tigers team. No matter what at this point, I am considering this a success because getting this roster that I started out with to the point where it is in the World Series in 3 seasons, I'm very happy with that. Now, like we did for the other 3 series, we are going over to the Colorado Rockies team, and we are taking a look at their roster. So they still have Nolan Arenado there. Had a great year. 50 home runs, 336 average. That's most likely an MVP season. Trevor Story, you can only assume, had a great year after he re-signed with Colorado. Herman Marquez always pitches well in franchise. We've been over that many times. The first season he actually didn't do great, but the other 2 seasons he did really well. They still have John Gray, who is also a good pitcher in franchise. David Dahl. They have Corey Kluber as their 3rd starter, but Corey Kluber is starting to fall off. He did have a good year, though. Their bullpen, they have Oberg, Pazos, who I was actually looking at trading for a lefty, but I went with Garcia instead. Kimbrel is their closer, along with Doolittle, who has fallen off, so that is a weak point in their team that I will definitely be looking forward to coming up against. Buster Posey is their catcher, old Buster Posey, not worried about that. First baseman, I'm not worried about at all. Garrett Hampson doesn't really worry me offensively. Brian Dozier has a little bit of pop left, maybe. He's not looking that scary offensively either, actually. They have Nolan Arenado and Kyle Seager, Trevor Story, David Dahl, and Nicky Delmonico. Tyler Naquin in center field for them, and Charlie Blackmon still in right field. So they still do have some firepower, but I definitely think this is a beatable team for us, and I think we are in a good spot right here in this World Series. We are going to change up the rotation so that Eduardo Rodriguez gets the first start, Sean Manaea gets the second start, and Fulmer gets the third start like we want it to be. So that's perfect right there. Simulating first game against Marquez. We win 4-3. Second game, Manaea versus John Gray. We are going to get a victory in that game as well. We are up 2-0, winning both games on the road, so that puts us in a very good position. because a good old sports saying is you're never in trouble until you lose at home. So they're in big time trouble coming to our ballpark. We're going to sim through date. We have Michael Fulmer in game number 3. What happens there? We win game number 3. Casey Mize will be going in game number 4. He's been good so far in this postseason. Can he secure the World Series victory for us? We are going to go into quick manage, and if it gets into the 9th inning, I'm going to go in and watch the celebration. The Rockies are going with Chris Archer in game number 4, an elimination game where they're down 3-0. They are going with Chris Archer. That is a very, very interesting decision, and hopefully we can make them pay severely for that choice. A single from David Dahl, a single from Jose Osuna, a walk loads the bases with 1 out in the 2nd inning, and Delmonico doubles to bring in 3 runs, and Trevor Story doubles to bring in another run. Casey Mize is in trouble early. He gets out of the 2nd inning. He gives up 4 runs in the 2nd inning. That does not put us in a good position. Hopefully we can take advantage of Chris Archer. 2 outs in the 2nd with 2 on. We can't get anything there. We're going to try and steal 2nd with Dominguez as we need everything we can get. He gets caught stealing. That's not very good. Strikeout, strikeout. Casey Mize gives up another single. Buster Posey manages to steal a base with 6 speed and 6 stealing. That is very, very, very disappointing. I don't know how we managed that. Willie Calhoun hits a solo home run for us to bring us back within 3. And Casey Mize seems like he's after settling down a good bit. We get a leadoff single from Jake Rogers. Miguel Cabrera hits into a double play. Jason Dominguez gets a single. Should I try and steal with him? I'm not going to do it again. Casey Mize has settled down as he's given up the 4 early runs, but he settled down to pitch pretty well late here. Jorge Soler hits a solo home run to bring us within 2. Can we come back? Willie Calhoun hits a single. Nothing doing there. We are going to take out Casey Mize here in the 7th inning. He gave up 4 runs early to put us in a bad spot, but he came back to pitch pretty well after that point. We are going to be bringing in Wendelken, see what he can do. Strikeout, strikeout, fly out, gets through it cleanly. Jake Rogers leads us off with a double. I'm not sure if I want... Okay, I accidentally simulated that half inning. That was a mistake. I kind of wanted to look at... I pressed triangle as if I was going to look at Miguel Cabrera's player card. That was a mistake by me. Top of the 8th inning, we're not going to leave Wendelken out there. We are going to go to... They got 2 righties coming up, so we will go with Ramos. He gives up 2 walks. That's 3 batters faced for him. I'm not letting you keep going if you give up 2 walks to 3 batters. Nick Anderson is going to come in. He's going to give up a single. Double play gets us out of the inning, though. We are down 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th. Can we get anything going? A ground out, a strikeout, a strikeout. They get a single. We're going to leave Nick Anderson in, a stolen base, a ground out, a walk, and they get a run scored. I probably should have taken him out there. We'll bring in Moreno. He gets us out of the inning. We are down 3. I'm not too confident that we're going to get back into this right here. And the Rockies defeat us there, so they do take a game. We are still up 3-1, and we are going to have Eduardo Rodriguez going for game number 5. Hopefully we can close it out here in game 5. Okay, Eduardo Rodriguez is going to be on the mound in game number 3. I'm not very happy with David Bodie so far. I think I'm going to move Francisco Lindor up to 2nd. I'm going to let Willie Calhoun move up. I'm going to let Santana move up. And I'm not happy with Miguel Cabrera either. But we're going to leave him where he is for now. I really want him to have an impactful moment in this game to secure a World Series. It will be Miguel Cabrera's 2nd World Series if we can complete it. And it would be a very good note for him to retire on. I'm not sure if he will, but we'll find that out if we get to that point. Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound gives up a single to the first batter, Trevor Story. Strikes out David Dahl. Strikes out Nolan Arenado. And he strikes out 3 batters after giving up a leadoff single. Now it's our turn, and Kevin Newman hits a solo home run to lead it off for us. That's good for us to put us in a nice position early on. Francisco Lindor in the 2nd spot gets a single. Jorge Soler gets a 2-run home run. So that's 3 runs early for us in the 1st inning. I think the lineup change I made again made a good impact. Willie Calhoun flies out, Domingo Santana strikes out, and we get another strikeout to end the inning. A double for Jorge Soler leads to nothing. Nolan Arenado leads off with a single in the top of the fourth, but he gets picked off, and then they get out of the inning with 2 ground outs. Santana pops out for us. Bodie gets a single. Cabrera flies out. He's really not done much in this postseason run for us. Lindor singles, followed by a Jorge Soler triple as we bring in another run, up 4-0 now. Pitching change as Yency Almonte comes in and we fly out to end the inning. We are sticking with Eduardo Rodriguez as long as we can. He's through 6 innings and we are on to the 6th inning for us. We get nothing out of it. Into the 7th inning of work for Eduardo Rodriguez, our ace. Ground out, a single from Charlie Blackmon, a strikeout, another single from Tyler Naquin. I'm tempted to pull him, but I'm going to have my faith in him. I'm going to give him another batter, and he gets out of it. You got to have faith in your ace. You got to have faith in your best pitcher on the staff. And I left him in for too long. Didn't mean to leave him in for that inning. That's a mistake by me. I wasn't really paying attention, and he gives up the leadoff home run. That is his day done. He should never have gotten into the 8th inning. That is my mistake. We are going to bring in Joe Jimenez for the 8th inning. He struggled so far in this postseason in the 8th inning, but let's see if he can do his magic this time. And he has a clean inning this time. Beautiful. Francisco Lindor walks. A strikeout from Soler, a flyout, and a flyout. Pitching change. Keone Kela is coming in to close the door for us. I am going to enter the game with 1 out to watch the World Series celebration for our Detroit Tigers because this is my first rebuild on YouTube and it looks like it's going to be successful. Strikeout for Nolan Arenado, a walk for Charlie Blackmon. I'm going to have to jump in here because he might hit into a double play and I don't want to miss the celebration. So I'm going to enter game. I don't want to control the game. I just want to view it. Hopefully it's not going to make me play because I do not want to play. Okay, just showing you that I'm selecting sides, so I'm not controlling our team. I think that'd be a little bit of a cheat, and it would lessen their chances of a comeback, potentially, so I am not going to do that. We are not controlling anyone. We are just going to watch, and hopefully the Tigers can close it out and secure the World Series victory. A pitch in the dirt from Kela. The runner will advance to second, as now they have a runner in scoring position with 1 out. We still have a 3-run lead at this point, so hopefully we can still hold on to that. 2-2 count from Kela with Kyle Seager, the batter. The pitch is a fastball, and it paints the bottom of the strike zone. Kyle Seager is caught looking for the 2nd out of the inning. Runner remains on second. Tyler Naquin up with the World Series final out on his shoulders. The Colorado Rockies make it all the way back to the World Series. They have not won one in their history. Can they? They are on the cusp of disappointment again here against the Tigers this time. Detroit leading the series 3-1 at home, looking to close it out. The 2-0 pitch is a fastball up, and it is ripped into the outfield. That is a base hit. The runner is coming around third. He will come in to score, and it is now a 4-2 game, and the runner will advance to second base. So the runner remains in scoring position, and it is a 2-run game. Still looking to close it out here in game number 5. Brian Dozier is now the hitter. The first pitch to him is a curveball in the dirt. The runner will not advance, however, as it is blocked nicely by Jake Rogers. Second pitch from Kela is a fastball outside, swung on by Dozier and missed. The count is now 1-1. The pitch from Kela is up. It is a curveball that catches the top of the zone. 1-2 now to Brian Dozier, down to the final out of the World Series. Can he come up big for his team, or will Kela shut the door? The pitch, it is a fastball low. The count is now 2-2. Kela has been a strong closer for us. He's definitely had easier saves than this. They are making him work for it here in the World Series. It is a curveball inside. The count is now full 3-2 with 2 out, and the runner on second. The runner will be on the move with Brian Dozier at the plate. Can we secure the World Series victory on this pitch? The pitch from Kella. It is a curveball, and Dozier swings and misses, and the celebration is on for the Tigers as they pile on to their closing pitcher, and they will celebrate into the night in Detroit. A very successful rebuild here on my YouTube channel as we are world champions in Detroit. Congratulations, Detroit, and you are welcome. I brought you a World Series. Miguel Cabrera stayed on the team. I made sure to keep that as part of the challenge. There he is celebrating with his teammates. Congratulations to the Detroit Tigers. You are the World Series champions, as you can see on screen right here. Looking at the celebration now, youngster Jason Dominguez, 19 years old, celebrating his first World Series, hopefully for him of many. The manager in the dugout celebrating with the coaching staff. They are all very happy with their hard-worked season. And here we see the World Series champions collecting their trophy, raising it up high. Lindor on the right, Manaea on the left. A very successful World Series and a very successful rebuild here on my channel as the Detroit Tigers are the 2022 World Series champions. Playoff MVP goes to Jorge Soler. World Series MVP goes to 19-year-old Jason Dominguez. He hit .353 with 2 home runs, and he is your World Series MVP. And I hope you watch more of my videos. I don't post every day, but I try and post as much as I can while I'm still working. But I'll see you in my next MLB The Show 20 video. See you soon.